Imagine this: you have talent, drive, and a product you believe in. But no matter how hard you hustle, it feels like you're building on sand. One shift in the algorithm and your leads vanish. One market shake and your strategy feels outdated. One moment of burnout and it all starts to feel unsustainable. That is the emotional cost of chasing trends instead of building on truth. But what if you didn't have to guess your way forward? What if there was a proven blueprint built not on hype, but on wisdom? Because buried in the story of King Solomon isn't just ancient insight, it's a business model that still scales today. Let's unlock the timeless business wisdom of the wealthiest, wisest entrepreneur who ever lived. Solomon didn't stumble onto success. He didn't win the lottery or ride some viral moment. His wealth was wisdom in motion. Yeah, he had resources, but what scaled the kingdom is how he thought, how he stewarded, how he strategized. He didn't just inherit power, he activated vision. He took what God gave him and turned it into generational momentum. Here is the hard truth: most people want Solomon's results, but they're not willing to pursue Solomon's mindset. So if you're building something, don't start with tactics, start with wisdom. Solomon wasn't just sitting on a throne collecting offerings, he was making moves. He forged international trade routes, moved goods across borders, formed partnerships with kings and craftspeople, and every deal was backed by trust. Benjamin Franklin once said, "It takes many good deeds to build a good reputation, and only one bad one to lose it." And to build on that, Danny Takash says, your product may open doors, but your reputation decides if they stay open. Here's what that starts to feel like when you live it out. You stop chasing exposure and start becoming the name people trust behind closed doors. You don't fear the downturns because your character is the currency that outlasts them. And you stop hiring based on hype. You start partnering based on principle. Build like Solomon, lead with integrity, scale value, not just volume. Choose alignment over attention because trust is the one currency that doesn't crash. Solomon didn't build alone. He built teams, he built culture, he built people. Craftsmen, artisans, builders. He knew their strengths and positioned them with precision. So, what changes when you actually live this out? You stop babysitting and start empowering. Your team starts making decisions you're proud of, and your business keeps moving, even when you're not in the room. Picture it. You walk in to the shop or check the dashboard and realize your people are solving problems without you. They're not waiting for instructions, they're owning the mission. That is the fruit of developing, not just hiring. Because a good system can scale your workload, but only strong people can carry your legacy. Solomon didn't rush into deals. He made space to think. He journaled. He wrote Proverbs for a reason, because he studied the patterns before he made the moves. Proverbs 13:16 says, "A wise man thinks ahead, a fool doesn't, and even brags about it." Solomon thought ahead. That was his edge. In today's world of dopamine decision making, you don't need faster answers. You need better questions. So create margin to think, unplug long enough to see clearly. Ask God before you ask the market. This is the shift that starts unfolding. You stop reacting, you start leading, and you finally feel steady, not scattered. Because wisdom isn't loud, it's lasting. Solomon didn't build to impress, he built to endure. He wasn't chasing praise, he was laying bricks that still speak today. Your brand, your business, your leadership, it can be more than profitable, it can be meaningful. So don't just ask, what will this earn me this year? Ask, what will this leave behind in 20? Imagine this, your kids or your team, or maybe even someone you never met, standing on a platform you built, using it to create value, impact, and freedom for their generation. That is when you realize you didn't just run a business, you built a legacy. Here is what Solomon taught us and still works in every market, every industry, every season. Wisdom first, always. Trade and partnership built on trust. Teams developed, not just hired. Strategy rooted in reflection. Success measured in generation, not just sales. And let me remind you, you don't need royal blood to build like a king. You just need a renewed mindset and a clear mission. So go build something that serves, that scales with purpose, that honors God and helps people. Because when you build like Solomon, you don't just make money, you make history.